Post Scriptum is a tactical first-person shooter set during the height of the Second World War. Much like live combat, the game demands confidence and communication to survive and thrive. Whether you're here looking to learn the basics or just to sharpen your skills, you've come to the right place. Welcome to a Moron's Guide. Alright soldiers, lace up those combat boots and top off those canteens, because it's time to discuss the most basic yet deceptively important classes in the game, the Rifleman. Unlike the specialist classes, Riflemen are not limited to one per squad. It is the only class that is always available. You will most likely find yourself in the boots of a Rifleman one way or the other, when all the other roles are occupied. This video is broken down into several sections explaining the equipment, roles, responsibilities, and some tips and tricks to improve your understanding of the Rifleman class within Post Scriptum. Alright, let's get started by first reviewing the equipment that you'll have at your disposal to carry into battle. Allied and German Riflemen entered the battlefield with essentially the same loadouts, which are a rifle with 7 to 12 magazines in reserve, so you never have to worry about running out of ammo when you're in those intense firefights. A knife for close quarters fighting, to bring you those stabby moments that everybody loves. 2 fragmentation hand grenades for those big boom moments, and 2 white smoke grenades to help you conceal your movements while you're being shot at and running away in fear. 3 field dressings for restoring up to 75% of your health. You know, when you have a big boo-boo and it needs to be healed. And 1 morphine syringe. No, not for you, but for when others have a big boo-boo. And when the medic is single-handedly winning the war himself instead of healing others. An entrenching tool for building and demolishing emplacements, boxes, and forward operating bases. Or basically, just when you feel like Bob the Builder. 1 ammunition crate to completely resupply 1 soldier. Keep this in mind, this is an incredibly important piece of equipment. A camera, so you can be a wartime photographer and share your experience with your sweetheart back home. 1 stack of sandbags to build a small bit of cover for you and fellow soldiers, or just like you did when you were a kid and build a fort. And last but not least, to help recharge your stamina, 1 canteen with 7 sips, filled with your favorite beverage. Tea for the British, whiskey for the Americans, and schnapps for the Germans. Each faction in the game arms their riflemen with different primary weapons, which are for the most part bolt-action rifles, which also speaks to historical accuracy for the time. The British armed their riflemen with the Lee Enfield No. 4. While the French sent their riflemen off to fight and retreat with the Lebel 1886 M93. The Germans sent their riflemen into battle with the Karabiner 98, otherwise known as the K98. While mainly during the early stages of the war, the Americans sent their riflemen in with the Springfield M1903. Alternatively, the American rifleman can also select the semi-automatic M1 Grand, which was fully implemented in the US Army by 1941. You know, the rifle that won the war? Each of these rifles have their pros and cons and take some time to get accustomed to. If you want extra practice with these weapons, be sure to try out the training mode, where you test out all firearms, vehicles, and mechanics of the game. When deploying grenades, there are a few simple directions to follow. First up, remember that friendly fire is always on, and a misthrown grenade can have dire consequences. Second, it is important to remember that you can throw both overhand as well as underhand. To throw overhand, hold the left mouse button and release at a 45-degree arc to achieve the farthest throw. When throwing underhand, hold the right mouse button and remember to look up, that way you don't drop the grenade at your feet and blow yourself to an untimely death. Thirdly, whenever possible, use local chat to announce your intentions to throw a grenade. This can help to alert allies around you not to rush ahead into danger, as well as warn nearby players of the potential for a misthrow and blow them to an untimely death. Before you decide to throw a grenade into a window, be aware of the teammates around you, lest that you miss and accidentally send a hail of sharp burning metal fragments into their sweet little bodies. Now that we've finished discussing the different aspects of equipment that the rifleman carries, let's move on to the different roles and responsibilities of a rifleman. As a rifleman, you are expected to work together with your squad members and follow your squad leader's direction. This is an essential part to victory on the battlefield. While the riflemen are not loaded with any special weapons, they do in fact have an incredibly important role on the battlefield, being an emergency resupply for anyone playing the machine gunner or anti-tank classes. By simply dropping off an ammo crate to the machine gunner or the anti-tank classes can be the difference between defeat and victory on the battlefield. Even though this sounds like an incredibly simple task, many players forget to do this, and it should always be remembered while playing the rifleman role, therefore playing your part in bringing your team to a glorious victory. Now that we've finished covering our basic review of the roles and responsibilities of the rifleman class in Post Scriptum, let's move on to tips and tricks for the rifleman. Like many first-person shooters, Post Scriptum has an array of sights and sound to enhance your gameplay. First up is suppression. When being suppressed, your field of vision becomes narrowed by a dark ring, preventing you from aiming down the sights effectively. When used correctly, this can prevent a defending player or squad from returning accurate fire on an assaulting team, or vice versa. Successful squad leads will direct suppressing fire towards the enemy when doing things like moving positions or covering a medic. In addition, you will be given an auditory clue when your bullets reach their intended targets. If you listen carefully, you'll hear a splat when you tag your opponent. Unless your opponent has been revived already, these hits result in a wound. However, if you tag your opponent in the head, a different sound can be heard.
Southeast.
This ping indicates that your bullet killed the opponent, preventing them from being revived or coming back to the battlefield to haunt you later. Post Scriptum, like many realistic shooters, has an extremely limited head-up display, otherwise known as HUD. While playing any class, you should pay close attention to the information on the bottom right of your screen. Here you can see, among other things, is your weapon or other currently selected equipment, the capacity of your ammo and how much is in reserve, and your stamina bar. The capacity of your ammo is reflected by the little bullet image on the bottom right of your screen. A white bullet reflects a full magazine, while yellow means a partially depleted magazine, and red means you're out of luck, you're empty, you need to reload. If you have a gaming mouse and want to gain an extra edge on the battlefield, it can be helpful to alternatively bind reload to a mouse button for more reload control. As you're running, jumping, crawling, and fighting your way across the battlefields of Europe, you will no doubt become tired and use up your stamina. If depleted, you're going to move more sluggishly across the battlefield and not be able to properly aim your weapon or function as a proper soldier. But do not worry, your stamina regenerates slowly, automatically. But you can also speed up this slow process by taking a drink from your canteen. While you're fighting evil on the battlefields of Europe, you can get quite thirsty. The best practice would be to take a sip from your canteen in preparation for a firefight. And believe me, nothing prepares you better for battle than a giant sip out of your canteen. Because who wants to miss that perfect shot just because you can't hold your weapon steady, all because you're thirsty and tired? So my fellow soldiers, don't make simple mistakes, and remember the simple rule, sippy sippy before you killy killy. Now that we've finished tips and tricks, let's wrap up this whole video and jump into final thoughts. With 10 different infantry classes to choose from, many players can become overwhelmed with roles and responsibilities in Post Scriptum. However, for the most basic army grunt playing experience, the Rifleman is the perfect fit. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking to sharpen your skills with another class in the game, be sure to check out our channel at a later time, for we have more guides in the making. And if you'd like to join us for a game sometime, just jump in our Discord server. You can find a link in the description below. On behalf of myself and everyone who was involved from the Moran Militia on this project, we thank you for watching and we hope to see you again sometime soon. Until then, enjoy your game in Post Scriptum and make sure to drink from your canteen.